but let's start with this global webinar. Primavera Beyond the Gantt chart. We'll explain a little bit later why we do this. We are at the Primaned office, of course. You see it in our name, Primavera Netherlands. One of the things we love the most is Primavera. But today we're going to talk about Oracle Aconex, and that's not just a document management system. That's what we hear a lot. We will try to explain you in the next 45 to 50 minutes what Aconex is all about, how it resides in the smart construction platform, a little bit later on that as well. A little thing about me. I'm your host for the day, Paul Vogels, CEO of Primaned. We have offices in the Netherlands, where our headquarters has been for almost 40 years. We have an office in Germany, Wiesbaden, close to Frankfurt, which is our office for the DACH, the German-speaking regions, Austria and Switzerland. In Barcelona for the Iberian continent, Spain, Portugal, everything South Europe related. I did a business administration and informatics degree, and what I really like is to bring people, processes, and tools together, and that's also what we believe in at Primaned. Born in '82, so I'm a real Xennial, so I'm old enough to know what a floppy disk is, but I also have Spotify on my phone. Some rules of the house for today. It will be recorded, so if you have a very secret thing or to say later on, this is the time, but everybody is recorded. Everybody is muted, so there will be no chaos. If you want to ask a question in the top of your Teams, there is a question and answer button where you can ask a question. I have some colleagues moderating. They will try to type with me to answer the questions, and also later in the presentation there will be some room for live answering. In a couple of slides we will be using a Mentimeter very shortly for very simple questions about how confident you are to find something. It's a challenge for the guys maybe in the room, and the girls will be better in finding things, but there will be a Mentimeter, so open up your phone or get it out of your pocket already, and you have to scan a QR code later. It's a very interesting poll we want to share with you. Let's dive into the webinar. We are working as project controls professionals, all in the industry, construction, engineering, energy transition, mobility, high tech, etc. And there's a lot of trends and developments in this sector. The question for more visibility and control over the project, and when we say the entire project, we mean from, let's say, initiation of the business case all the way to maintenance and renovations, that kind of project life cycle, plan, build, operate, as we want to call this in the industry. That's where we need more visibility and control. And what we see, for example, that people designing a building, for example, have to talk to the maintenance people that it will be more easy to access, more digitized, for example, digital twins is getting into our industry for many years, BIM, etc. So there needs to be an alignment between all disciplines across the entire project. Also with cloud, with Internet of Things, it needs to be secure, of course. The processes in the industry are changing with new contracts, with new ways of collaboration, joint ventures, consortia, owner and developer combinations. Everything is changing, so also your processes need to be aligned to that, need to be configured. From an IT point of view, the bespoke software is way past us, so everything needs to be either out of the box, where you can profit from best practices or good practices, but also be configurable by setting up parameters or designing workflows, etc., to make this configurable to the need you have, to the relevancy you need in the process or project, for example. open platform and ecosystem. And more systems are connected, and there's no one ring to rule them all, to make the metaphor to a famous movie. But some organizations are better in BIM, some organizations and software are better in cost, for example, or in scheduling, and you want to connect it. So you need a ecosystem of partners and a platform to facilitate this. And that's what we see, for example. So yeah, we need to connect people, processes, and tools or data, because we're moving into a more data-driven environment. What we are going to talk about today is about Oracle Smart Construction Platform. And the Oracle Smart Construction Platform is an ecosystem within the Oracle industry, which is highly configurable, talks to each other, and where, for example, Primavera P6, what you can see in the top of the slide, but also the new integrated solution with scheduling and risk like Primavera Cloud, OPC, Oracle Primavera Cloud, is part of this smart construction platform. Today is the first episode of many more global webinars. We're going to dive into Aconex. And Aconex, a lot of people call this a document management system, but the official, and I know it's not a sexy term, but we're going to explain this later. We need to think up of a more sexy term for this, but it's actually a multi-party project contract collaboration tool. So more than one organization. It's really project focused. Contracts, so official documents, and that can be a drawing or a request for change or a transmittal, for example, or a work package. That's all a contract or contains contractual information. Also a schedule can sometimes be a contractual document which you want to collaborate with each other. My colleague Daniel Bastidas from our office in Spain will explain more about this later, but this is the official term. And how do we collaborate with contracts? Well, that's typically a document or a schedule or a drawing, etc. So that's why people talk about a document management system a lot if we do this. Let's go a little bit into the interactive mode. It would be great if everybody opens up his phone, scans this QR code. It is safe from a ISO and GDPR point of view. And if all things are okay, you will get 4 questions. I'm looking a little bit to the left to see how many people there are in the Mentimeters. You will get 4 very simple questions. And we are going to start. Well, let's first say, okay, what kind of questions is it? How confident are you in? Question number 1 is finding an email sent to you 2 hours ago. So imagine somebody sent you an email at 9:15 this morning, and you get the task to find that email, probably in your Outlook. How confident are you? I see a lot of people who are very confident, also who clean it very thoroughly very soon. But the answer, and we're going to not spend a lot of time, we have a lot of people in there, is around 88%. If I ask this into the customers which I see right now, it's more or less, or where we talk to right now, it's very confident, at least. 100% or 88 or 91, I see. It's a little bit growing. People are very confident that they can find an email which is sent to you. That's an important one. And 2 hours ago. Let's make it a little bit difficult, more difficult. Finding an email who is on a holiday today, but it's sent 2 hours ago. So somebody comes to your desk. Can you find me the email I sent to Daniel, which is my colleague right now? He's not on vacation, but let's assume he's on vacation. How sure are you? I see that people are getting less confident because how can I log into his account? Maybe I need to go to IT or I have to call him on his holiday. I don't want to call him on his holiday. So I see that this figure, and we have already 35 answers in. It's around 65% in our Mentimeter. And in our assessment we did the last couple of months, it's really a lower number than, of course, the email sent to you. Third question, you are taking over this job, and from Mr. X or Mrs. X, who was your predecessor, so she stopped working last week, for example, and somebody sent an email to that girl or guy. She's not working here anymore, but it has been sent to her 2 hours ago. And they come ask you, can you find that email which I sent to the colleague who was doing your job before? And indeed, people are getting less confident, and that's, of course, very logical. 30 answers, it's changing a little bit. But I think the final number will be a little bit less than 20%. That's also what we see. Last question before we jump back into the presentation. We need somebody to be held accountable for an email sent to you. How confident? So people are saying, I want to hold this counterparty accountable for an email which is sent to me personally 2 hours ago. How confident are you that if we come to, let's say, a conclusion, we are going to say, yes, you are accountable for this? And indeed, I see people rising a little bit, and the answer is 70%. So email is more used as proof. In the Mentimeter, we're about 40%. But that still means that 1 out of 2, 1 out of 3 emails with a contract is not held accountable for by email. Thanks everybody for the interactivity. We will share this later on with the results on the screen right now. But we're going to change one thing in this slide, and that's the blue spot. So imagine, and we are not going to do this interactively, but imagine what will happen with the percentages if we ask the same 4 questions, and please do this in your organization. If we are going to ask the same questions, not 2 hours ago, but 2 days ago. Think about it for a couple of seconds. Will it go up? Are we more confident when it's 2 days ago, or are we less confident? And what we've been hearing, of course, that is getting a little bit less confident. So 2 days is not a major time difference than 2 hours. But what if 2 days will become 2 weeks? Is that email on the bottom of your inbox, is it already deleted, archived, moved automatically, etc. 2 weeks ago? And do you still remember what day it was, what title it was, who sent it to you, etc.? And so if we go to 2 weeks, we will see that the confidence level will go down drastically. And imagine 2 months, what will happen then? Because the chance of people being on holiday is bigger, being no longer employed, flexibility contracts, etc., will be less and less easy. And our projects are 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 20 years. If we're talking about maintenance project, for example, the chances of finding an email sent to you 2 years ago will drastically drop. Imagine if somebody has left in the last 2 years. In our industry, 15 to 20% of the people leave within 1 to 2 years in their contract. So the chances of people moving there is very important. So the conclusion for this is that email might not be the best contract collaboration tool. Your inbox will be deleted when you move from company A to B, etc., etc. And let alone holding this up in court in a claim. I have gotten an email 2 years ago. How viable is this? So If we project this into Aconex, one of the most important things is what we call net neutrality, its own unique data ownership model. It's not about somebody owning the data and giving access to it, but everybody is connected into one unique project model, for example, or a portfolio model, and everybody is invited to to take part in this organization. We tell a little bit more about it in detail by our colleague Daniel, but this is how Aconex is designed by default, that everybody is collaborating within a project and there is nobody who can overrule you. For example, imagine in SharePoint, I can disconnect somebody from SharePoint, from an external organization, and even from an internal organization. That's why this has been changed. And the other thing is, that's called the ironclad or the unalterable audit trail. Nothing can be deleted or altered. That can be done by processes that you cannot delete this, for example, in SharePoint. But SharePoint, for example, and not going to talk too much about other products, but in almost every document management or folder management solution, there's a super admin who can overrule, delete, or change things. That's physically, technologically wise, not possible in Aconex. And we have seen this hold up into court, for example. So this concept I'm going to introduce to you. Daniel will be more into detail in the next 35 minutes. But this is one of the solutions from the smart construction platform we want to introduce you today. Let's go a little bit into the commercials. I have 2 slides about our organizations. Why are we telling this and why do we think we know something about it? Primaned is let's say a full service provider in project controls. Project controls is the only thing we do. So we have consultants who think about the process, the standard process, how to configure this to your need or change your progress in guidelines, processes in guidelines and handbooks, etc. So we have a consulting organization. We have a solutions organization, a reseller of Aconex and Primavera, OPC, P6, etc. We run our own academy, and that's where we transfer the knowledge about project controls in theoretical, but also in practical software, Aconex P6 training, etc., with our Primaned Academy into your own organization. We have people, document controllers, schedulers, risk analysis within our own organization who are going to do this for you. So they will be part of your team temporarily with the knowledge and the experience they have in the other projects. And we have our own BI and data analytics team who specifically focuses on getting the best insight and reports and dashboards and data integrations in project controls. And so we can build an S-curve, we can build a project controls dashboard, but we also can connect your, let's say, your financial information or your HR information into P6 or Aconex or Unifier or any other solution within project controls. What's the areas knowledge and how do we define project controls? It's all about knowledge areas as PMI also dictates them. We're going to hear more about it in our own webinars where we talk a lot with PMI. It's about scope. It's about time. A schedule is all about time. It's about cost. It's about risk management. What happens if it starts raining? How long is the delay? How much more money do we need to spend? And it's about resource management. Do we have enough capacity? Do we have the right roles, resources, labor, non-labor, etc.? That's the primarily knowledge areas. And then where Aconex, for example, is very good at the change in time, the change in risk. What happens if we have more scope? Do we have more cost or more time? Or if we hire more resources, will it be quicker? That kind of changes do you want to capture, of course. We need to communicate about this. Not a lot of people are able to get all the information out of a 50,000 line schedule printed out beyond the Gantt chart, for example. And that's what we try to do to get the most value out of this projects. We do this with a team of around 50 people right now, scattered all over Europe. So we are able to execute projects within Europe, but even outside. But our main focus is we want to be a full service provider, as mentioned before, from project initiation all the way to closeout and maintenance in these knowledge areas with these 5 business units in the Benelux, in the DACH region, and in the Iberia region with dedicated consultants. So that makes me very proud to introduce one of our Aconex specialists, hopefully in sunny Barcelona today. It's raining a lot in the Netherlands this week. So please welcome Daniel Bastidas, one of our Spanish Aconex consultants.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Paul, for the introduction. Thank you for everything that you have explained so far. And yes, it's actually quite sunny today. So it's a really nice day in Barcelona. Temperatures are a bit down as well, but still sunny. So that's great. All right. So like Paul commented, I'm one of Primaned's Aconex specialists. I'm a project control consultant here at Primaned. I'm based in Barcelona office. I was born in 1994, and I'm also acquainted with the floppy disk. I didn't use it that much, but I'm also part of this generation that grew up with technology and the evolution of technology. My first software I think I used was Microsoft Paint, which I don't know, I was a kid. But now I'm here talking about Aconex, and yeah, I'm really passionate about how these technological tools can help make your lives easier and your work easier, which ultimately translates to making life easier, of course. So let's talk about Aconex. Paul already mentioned how Aconex is a lot more than a document management system. It does have document management and control capabilities, of course, but it does a lot more than that. And he mentioned this term, which, yes, it's a bit more complex and not as easy to remember as the document management system, but it really highlights what Aconex can do. So let's break it down a little bit. So when we talk about multi-party, as Paul mentioned, Aconex is a tool, a solution that we buy for a project, right? So when we hire Aconex, when we get Aconex, we don't do it for our organization. It's not the corporate tool that we get for example, for planning, or for how you could do it with OPC, for example, or it's not your SAP where you do financial management for your company, right? It's not your corporate tool, whether the tool you buy for a project, for everybody in the project to collaborate. So every company that participates in the project needs a place to collaborate, and that's Aconex, right? That is, of course, really integrated with the concept of the project, because in the end, Aconex tries to be your single source of truth for all relevant project data. So documentation, communications, anything that is relevant to your project should be in Aconex. So all the people and all the information relevant to the project should be working and collaborating in Aconex. And of course, to do this, Aconex needs to facilitate the solutions, the functionalities, the modules to do this. And Aconex really supports all of the information management needs that companies have within projects. When we talk about a contract focus tool, it's because when you sign a contract with your companies and you start working on a project, you are committing to some deliverables, to some obligations. You need to fulfill a product, deliver a product in a specific time with a specific quality. And there are, of course, consequences to not doing it. There are penalties. And Aconex really tries to mimic and support that nature of contracts and to minimize, to mitigate all the organizational risks towards these obligations and deliverables. So this is why we see some functionalities like in mail, in Aconex, when you send mail to somebody else and you're asking for a document, you're asking for more information or something like this, you can set deadlines and you can track all of these deadlines on when this information should be delivered, right? Of course, there are more functionalities. That's just a quick example, right? Then we mention a lot the word collaboration, and that is because Aconex is really designed or built around collaboration. Aconex is a tool for collaboration, and we normally talk about these 4 words or this abbreviation called ECSR. You see right here on the top. Let me see if I can point. There it is. So ECSR, which are the most common actions that we need in order to collaborate, right? So we need to exchange information, that's the E. We need to send information to the rest of our team and the rest of the companies, and receive information as well. We need to capture, that's the C. So we need to get this information and we need to capture it somehow. We need to maintain this information. We need to keep it. Then we have storage, in which Aconex actually gives you a private organization-wide storage. This is something that we'll dive a little bit more into in the next slides. But each of the companies that work inside the project in Aconex, they get their own storage, their own private place. So that allows you to have your own information inside the project stored. And then you need to retrieve information, that's the R. So of course, you need to get back this information, to look at it, to consult it, to review it, to send it over to other people, to get insights from your project, from your documentation as well. You need reports, you need KPIs. So all of these processes that you need in order to really collaborate in a project, you have them covered with Aconex. Also, this collaboration is neutral. And this is one of the key concepts of Aconex, neutrality, because as Paul explained before, there's no owner of data, of the whole environment. You know, when you look at other tools and, I don't know, for example, SharePoint, Google Drive, any other, these common data environments that we talk about, normally there is someone that's a super user, and this person can delete documents, can change things, can remove people from the system. They can share a document and then remove that access to the document, right? So in the real world, that is not really possible. So think about paper, right? If you send documents to your subcontractor, for example, you cannot just jump into their office and get all that information out and delete it and remove access for them. So why would you be able to do that? Why should you be able to do that in the digital world? So these boundaries that are more natural and more normal between companies, Aconex tries to keep them and respect them through neutrality. And we'll see some examples so we can grasp the concept a little better. Last but not least, it's a tool. I know it sounds a bit obvious. It's software, it's a solution, it's a tool, but we really emphasize the fact that it's just a tool. So it's a really nice one. It's really powerful. So it's programmed and coded to do a lot of things, and it does them really well. But it's just a tool. It doesn't do anything by itself. You need the people, you need the processes, you need the data, the information, documents, communications, etc. So adoption, change management, and getting people on board with Aconex, that's something really important. And some of the features and characteristics of Aconex really drive that adoption, like neutrality, for example. So let's dive a bit more into it. And let's talk about, first of all, the architecture of Aconex, so we can understand how this, philosophical or more upper level, high level description of Aconex translates, into the functionalities and how Aconex actually works. So to understand the architecture, we need to talk about a concept we call OCPIN. And this is not a word in Spanish, in German, in Dutch, or English. It's an abbreviation as well. So it stands for organization storage. So as we've said before, everybody that works in Aconex gets their own organization storage, their own private space where they can put all their documents, and nobody else can see them. Nobody else can delete them or do anything about this, unless they decide to, of course. And it's in that moment when they decide to share something outside their organization storage inside the project, where they share information, they do transmittals, they create mail, right? And these deliveries are guaranteed by Aconex at 100% rate. So everything you send in Aconex, every piece of mail, every document, every upload, everything you do is guaranteed to be delivered. So one of the major risks or problems that we have in our projects is that we normally hear people saying, I didn't get your email, I didn't get that document. And this is not going to happen with Aconex because if it is sent, it is received by the other party. Then we have permanent capture, which means that everything we do in Aconex, every mail sent, every document uploaded, it's always captured. It stays there forever. Nobody can delete anything ever. So you really have this history of everything that has been done. And on the same page, there is an ironclad audit trail. So not only everything stays there in Aconex, so nobody can come in, even the organization that has hired or is paying for Aconex, they cannot come in and delete stuff. But also everything that we do, the transmittals, the uploads, the modifications of documents, everything gets recorded in the log. So we can always look back, even if 2 years after the project has finished, we are facing claims and we need to go back and we need to look at what happened 3 years ago. We can always find that because these logs are inalterable. They cannot be edited. And last but not least, and I think this is a concept that really summarizes a bit of all the other characteristics of Aconex, which is neutrality. It's just a concept that goes all the way through Aconex because, as I said before, no one is the owner. No one is the owner of all the information. No one can kick you out of Aconex. No one can see your documents. No one can delete them. So if your organization has important documents for the project, like internal rates, internal costs, resource data, etc., that are relevant to the project, but you don't want anybody else to see them, you can upload it into Aconex, and it is safe there because it's in your organization storage. Nobody else can touch it or see it or do anything with it. So that really drives trust and adoption within the tool and within the users. Looking at the architecture of Aconex, coming a bit more down to earth with the concepts. So this is basically how Aconex works. So if you look at this picture right here, this blue oval figure, this is our project. This is our project inside Aconex. And as you can see, every organization, the PM, the contractor, subcontractor, the client, everyone, they get their own organization storage, right? They get their own slice of the pie. And everybody can upload their own documentation, share internal emails, and everything is securely stored, right? In Aconex, we usually talk about how Aconex allows you to securely store information and selectively share it. So as soon as, for example, the PM organization has uploaded a few documents and they decide to share something with the other companies to make it visible for other companies. For example, I have a set of documents and I just want to transmit them to the client and the contractor, for example. Once that happens, you see how the other elements start acting. So there's guaranteed delivery. The PM and the organization is 100% sure that the contractor and the client will get that email. No more excuses that you didn't receive the email, you didn't receive the document. It's there. You just need to look for it and find it and do something about this, right? Permanent capture, because once this document is sent, even from the upload, from every point of Aconex, nothing gets deleted. So the PM organization cannot just come back and say, hey, client, I need my document back. I'm removing access to it. It's not possible. The client is always going to have this copy of the document here. So you have this permanent capture where nothing can be undone. Then you have the ironclad audit trail because everything that we have done so far gets recorded. You can have a clear log of who sent this piece of information from the PM and the organization into the other organizations. You have the dates, you have the user responsible for it, you have the company who sent it, who sent it to. So all of that data gets tracked. And last but not least, neutrality. Again, in this quick example, this document was uploaded by the PM organization. Nobody else can delete it, not even the PM organization. So even if maybe the client is the one that has the actual contract with Oracle, is paying for the service of Aconex, they cannot come into the organization storage of the PM organization and delete it. It's not possible. So this is one of the main features that really builds trust between the users, between the different organizations, and really reduces risk. How often do we see that maybe we get invited to a SharePoint, to a project where SharePoint is being used, or Google Drive, or any other tool, and we get access to documents, but then all of a sudden that access is removed, or we don't feel comfortable sharing specific information because it's really internal information, but then you end up with your specific internal information in your own SharePoint, and then the project information that you want to share with the client in their SharePoint. So you never get this really common data environment, this really single source of truth. And Aconex really helps with that, really solve that problem by giving you one single source of truth where you can put all the information securely. If we go a little bit more down to earth, And we look at Aconex and how Aconex achieves all of these things. So what does it really provide for the user, right? So we got a lot of modules inside Aconex. So if we want this tool to be our single source of truth, it has to provide the tools, right? The processes, the functionalities to send mail, to receive it, to track stuff. And we do this with the Aconex modules. For example, we have tasks, documents, mail, workflows, and packages. These are the main modules inside Aconex. Then we have other modules that are really useful, like the mobile application. We have insights. We can actually visualize models. We can also do clash detection through the additional modules, like the model coordination one. We also have a cost management module. So these are extra or additional capabilities of Aconex that can really help bring more disciplines into the project control that we are going to do with the solution. Also, I can see, I saw from the participants, many of you are probably working with government agencies, or many of you are working also in defense projects or have worked with them. There's also really a need for high compliance. So we cannot forget that this is a cloud tool. So Aconex can also provide that. So we have a high compliance environment with all the certifications, with the security necessary to provide this confidentiality and this privacy that this confidential information needs in the end. Last but not least, we usually get the question of who really needs Aconex, right? And we always say, when you look at these modules, when you look at this philosophy and functionalities in Aconex, we really say that any company, any business that produces complex documentation and works in complex projects with teams, with people, and they need clarity, they need transparency, they need traceability of the processes and what is being done in project, you will really benefit from a system like Aconex because it gives you that clarity, gives you that accountability and traceability of everything that is being done in the process. Before we jump into Aconex, because I want to take a few minutes, if we do have time, to show you the look and feel of Aconex, I want to show you a quick example, a quick scenario of what usually happens when we work with traditional systems, with any normal email client and a CDE, a common data environment like Google Drive or SharePoint, etc., versus how it looks like or what we can solve with by using Aconex, right? So normally, and let me just use this here. Good. So normally when you use these traditional tools, right, you get all of this information flying around, right? You get all the users from each of the companies. They have their own individual mailboxes with data and mail from all of their different projects, personal mails in some cases. So a lot of mixed information. You don't have a single source of truth because everybody has their own email account. And there are clearly some issues and many miscommunication risks and problems with this, because you get people that are not sure if they're working in the wrong version of a document. Maybe they don't even know there's a newer version of the document. You get emails that are not sent to the right people. So the wrong people are getting the wrong information sometimes. And you really don't have a visibility of everything or all the communications and the documentation information that is being shared in the project. Many companies try to minimize this risk normally with a CDE, common data environment, like SharePoint, for example. But when you look at this scenario, can you really see one common data environment? Because even if you have this place to put your documents, every user has their own individual inboxes. So I see a lot of sources of truth here, not a single one at all. And that can lead to the same issues that we always see when we talk about communication and collaboration. With Aconex, on the other hand, since the organization inboxes and storages are organization-wide, anytime mail gets sent from one person in an organization to another person in another organization, this information is organization-wide. So if someone from this company decides to share a piece of information with the project owner, everybody from this organization will be the sent information, and everybody here will see the received information. And this is inalterable. This cannot be disputed. It cannot be deleted. So anytime you look back at it, you still have that information there, whether in the normal traditional way of working, people leave the company, people stop working, the inboxes get deleted, and you lose critical information that could save you from potential claims and lawsuits after the projects are finished, or even during projects. So those are really, really game changers from Aconex in terms of accountability, traceability, and the history of your projects. Okay. Before we jump into Aconex, I just want to summarize a little bit of the benefits and how really Aconex ends up helping your project teams. So Aconex really becomes, or is the software, is the tool that is designed to become your single source of truth, because it doesn't let you just handle documents. It's not a document management system only. It also lets you manage the communications in a neutral manner, with permanent capture, with inalterable audit trails, so you can defend yourselves against claims. You have guaranteed delivery. You forget about having users complaining about not receiving emails or receiving them too late. You can track these emails, so your contractual obligations, you can stay on track of them. We'll see in Aconex how you get this task page where you can see every piece of mail, every document that you need to review, everything. You see your pending tasks, and you see the dates when you have to complete these tasks. Also, net neutrality, the privacy that Aconex gives to every organization inside the project, and the capacity or the capability to see their overall information inside the tool. Those are real game changers and real characteristics and features that boost the trust, adoption, and the sharing of users inside Aconex. Also, I haven't mentioned this, but it's a cloud tool from Oracle, and just like the other tools from the Smart Construction platform, Aconex gets monthly upgrades. So you have certification upgrades, patches for security, for compliance. So it's a tool that gets updated on a monthly basis. Good. I am going to take a few minutes to jump into Aconex for a moment. All right, because I really think that it's quite interesting to see the tool live. It's always really nice to talk about, of course, of the mindset, or the philosophy behind the tool, how it works, what it aims to do, but you also need to see, to get the look and feel of the solution. So this is my browser. I only need to log into Aconex with my credentials, a browser, a stable internet connection. And what I first see in Aconex is the homepage, which is actually my tasks. So here on top, you see the different modules. The homepage is my tasks. And on the top right, you can see that my user belongs to the Primaned organization. That's important. Let's keep that in mind. So when I open Aconex, the first thing I see as a user is everything that I have pending, or that I have received, that I haven't seen, that I haven't replied to, and I have to do something about it, right? So it gets divided into categories. So every user that logs into Aconex can see all the mails that they have received and they haven't opened, for example. But most importantly, everything that they have outstanding, which is mail where they have to do something, and overdue, mail where they have to do something by a specific date, but they haven't done it in time. It's delayed. So in the first example, I need to reply to this RFI. You see that in the code. It's a request for information by the 7th of November, right? I still have time, but it's a pending task. But then for this one, it's another RFI. I should have replied by the 10th of October, and I haven't. So this also gets logged. So in the future, if there's a claim about this, if this caused a significant delay and there's a problem with this, we're going to look back and say, who was responsible for this? And they're going to find what happened, which company was responsible for it, and you have the supporting documentation for this. If you look also at the documents category, you get the same type of information. If you get transmittals for a document and you haven't replied, this one is for tomorrow, it's due tomorrow. But then I have a review process, workflow process, where I have to review a document, and I should have replied by the 6th of October. Remember, this is a demo environment. I'm not that delayed all the time. These are just examples. So this is basically how users can see what they have pending and overdue as well. You get the same for packages. I don't have any examples at the moment, but we get the same also for supplier documents. It's another module. So all of the information that gets fed into this part of Aconex comes from different modules here on the top. One of them, one of the most important ones, is the mail module. So look how we can have different tabs in the top. So that's quite comfortable, quite nice. So you can look at your tasks and then jump into your mails at the same time. So if I'm working in mail, remember how I told you that I'm part of the Primaned organization? So this email inbox, this mail inbox that I see right here, this is the whole inbox for Primaned. So every piece of mail that was received by me, by my colleague Mady, by Paul, by Yang, etc., everybody from the company is going to see those mails. So if I leave the company in 5 months, a year from now, everybody can see what I sent and what I received, even though I left. Right? It's that's one of the main capacities of Aconex. What happens also is that, of course, if you are looking at the whole inbox for the company, you have a lot of information. You can have hundreds, thousands of mails in that inbox. So Aconex introduces something really interesting, really nice, which are the smart folders. You can also call them smart searches, smart folders, smart views. And these allow you to create filters, predefined filters, to look for the right information. So mail in Aconex has also attributes. It's not just a mail that you sent at a time from this person to that person. You have types of mails, you have status of mails, recipients, organizations also can be filtered from organizations, and you have other attributes that you can give to mail. And you can use this to track and to get exactly the information that you need. To show you a quick example, here on the left side, there are some standard searches. And I can look, for example, for the outstanding and overdue mail that my organization has received. And I get very quickly these 14 mails. They're all outstanding. And as you can see, this was received by Mady, and I have nothing to do with this particular mail, but I see it because it's from my organization. And if I click on my outstanding and overdue, now I only focus on mine, right? On my mail. So these are very powerful tools that allow you to get the information you need in the moment when you need it. Then if we move forward to the documents module, the documents module works in a very similar way. It's a complete register for the whole company. So if I upload a document, my colleague Mady or Chef or Paul, everybody's going to be able to see that document. And we also have these filters, right? So one key differentiator factor in Aconex is that we don't have complex folder structures. If you go to your regular folder structures, these are really complex, really complicated. There are probably 2 people that know them by heart and they can move around the folder structure very easily, but it's usually a real pain just trying to find the right folders and pinpoint where the right information is. So Aconex works quite differently. There is no folder structure. We have attributes and tags. So every document has a set of attributes, status, types, disciplines, areas, building, locations. These can be customized as well. And we use this to find the information we need. So again, we have these smart folders and searches. I have one, for example, for architecture drawings, which is this one that I'm seeing, and it automatically filters drawings in the architectural discipline. I get 18 results. We can also use date filters. So I have this one for the reports created in the last 90 days. So I can look for types of documents reports from the 90 days. These are here from the last 90 days. And I can also look for the last 30, the reports from the last 30 days for the operations discipline. For example, I can add more filters, more attributes to my searches. This is really powerful because then you can have the specific searches, the smart folders for every type of document, of case that you need to work with in a daily scenario, and you have them so easily, so quickly. Just to show you, if I remove filters, right now I have 150 documents. It's not a lot. It's just a demo environment. Sometimes you'll end up with hundreds of thousands of documents. So having these quick searches is really a game changer for collaboration. Just to finish, because we are running out of time for the Q&A session, we also have insights inside Aconex. Some of these are or look like simple histograms, like a project overview with the mails that have been sent and received, RFIs, documents that we have transmitted, or the progress of workflows. We also have, for example, tabular reports of mail statuses, And we also get, for example, this document status and document type reports. Also, because we know sometimes reporting needs are more complex, Aconex is a cloud solution. It has open APIs. So if you ever need to extract information from Aconex to build your own reports outside of Aconex, that is also a possibility. So you have a lot of functionalities, you have a lot of possibilities for collaboration and to deliver your project on time and on a professional way as well. Thank you very much. I hope I didn't go too much over time. Paul, I give it up to you.
Thank you very much, Daniel, for this great presentation. If everybody or anybody is interested in a more specific demonstration, that's of course always possible. Let's dive into the Q&A sessions. There is a specific Q&A session in the top. I also got some personal ones, but let's first go into the generic Q&A session. Chef received a question in his personal chat about the neutrality. How does it work? Who owns Aconex? Maybe I will answer this. Some of my colleagues will be answering some other questions later, but actually in the contract with Oracle by Primaned or by Oracle Direct, there is a difference in the contract with paying organizations and non-paying organizations. So typically the project organization or the owner pays for the Aconex instance, let's say for 5 years for this project of the new bridge in Berlin, for example, and he or she is able to invite all the project organizations in that. In the contract, there are some written statements that even though you own Aconex, you don't have more rights and controls than the non-paying organization. So if you ever replace a contractor with another contractor, even the former contract has access to the documents which have been shared with him during or pre-project, etc. So owning Aconex or paying for the contract with Oracle doesn't give you more rights. And that's where the net neutrality comes into place, that everybody is inviting and transmitting documents or mails or BIM models, etc., with each other. I hope that answers the question answers the question, Chef, to that. Manoy has a question. Does the document module communicate seamlessly with SharePoint or any other legacy document management system? Daniel Bastidas, is that something you would be able to answer? If you unmute yourself.
Sorry, yes. Does the document module communicate with SharePoint? I mean, on a native way, there is no integration, but it can always be done. So one of the main one of the nice things we have around this smart construction platform tools inside Oracle is that they have open APIs. So we can do the configurations and we can do the integrations with other softwares if we need to. So for example, we have worked with companies that want to integrate Aconex with tools from inside the smart construction platform like OPC. This can be done natively, but we have other companies also that want to integrate this tool Aconex with external softwares that are not part of the smart construction platform, and that's also a possibility. So yeah, it's more a question of not if it is possible, but how. So yeah.
And to add to that, so the smart construction platform is more an industry solution that is residing in the Oracle cloud infrastructure, let's say the data center infrastructure of Oracle. And there is a specific integration solution within Oracle called OIC. They really love abbreviations. Oracle Integration Cloud, which has a lot of connectors. So it's more or less a pre-configured connector, which you have to connect to, for example, SharePoint or Dropbox or Google Drive, has connectors into the Oracle Integration Cloud. So it makes it a little bit easier than doing a lot of configurations by yourself. So in general, yes, it can connect. There might be some configuration involved to that, Manuel. I also see a private question popping up in my chat box. Please use the question and answer so we can share this with everybody later. But John is asking something about, does Aconex work on mobile devices? So yes, Oracle has developed an app, a native app, iOS or Android, I think, to control Aconex, of course, in a more smaller screen, developed for that resolution, etc., where you can work and transmit and approve things from a workflow, or log a issue with the photo actually of your camera of your mobile device. And Aconex has also something where they can integrate with external partners. There is a VR partner who makes these really fancy. It's not a glass, but it's like a hard hat with a small monitor where it can be operated hands-free. So if you are working on a ladder where you need to hold hands, etc., it's actually safe to look into documents, for example, in how to disconnect a relay or a compressor, etc., and that can be operated with your voice. So go to screen 1, open section number 2, that kind of questions. You can talk to these glasses more or less to do this. So yes, it works on mobile, on tablets, etc., but they also have some real AR and VR stuff in the partner platform of Oracle. Small question also privately. I got 3 ones. What languages does Aconex support? Well, all major languages. I think top of my head, German, English, Chinese. I see some colleagues helping me. Chinese, simplified Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Polish. I see French, German, English, Spanish. So, well, all major languages are supported within Aconex. If there are no more questions. Oh, my colleague has a question. Can Aconex work with BIM models? Yes, actually, we didn't have the time, but there was this called model coordination box in the slideshow of Daniel Bastidas, where actually people are working together on BIM models. So you can connect your Autodesk or Revit BIM file into Aconex, upload or connect this, and take a screenshot to the actual view you want to talk to with your other colleagues, for example. But you can also raise an issue. And one of the examples we have been seeing in the design phase of a project, Aconex is often used also with a special license in tender or design phases before we have the actual go, no-go decision by the owner to construct this. But in the design phase, there's a lot of documents, for example, 3D models of a electrical engineering party and a HVAC. So they have this big pipes where they do the air conditioning, etc., and the electricity guys have their cable running right through that. Well, there's an issue, and you can raise that, actually make a request for change to the electricity guys, because that's a little bit easier maybe than a duct from the HVAC guys. So actually this BIM model coordination can be implemented, can be integrated within Aconex, and it's very capable of handling those kind of models. Like real schedulers, we want to finish also on time, within scope. We covered all our questions, all our slides. If you need a little bit more information, please look at our website, primaned.com. You can subscribe for the newsletter. You will be invited for the next episodes of this Smart Construction Global Webinar. There's a lot of blogs on Aconex, also on scheduling risk, etc. We still have our podcast live. It's previously recorded, of course. And if you want to get into contact, of course, all the email addresses and phone numbers are on our website for Spain, for Germany, DACH, for the Benelux as well. If you want to connect directly with our team, there are 4 QR codes on the screen right now will be shared, which will lead to the pages of Borja, who is responsible for our Iberia part of the Primaned Procon companies. Marius Velling, who's director for DACH. My own name is in there, of course, as well. Please also feel free to connect to me. And if you need anything more on this event or on a Benelux or Dutch opportunity, also please reach out to my colleague, Chef Van Vught. Slideshows will be emailed, I see. I will thank you very much for attending this 1-hour webinar. Please stay tuned for the next ones, and I hope everybody will enjoy the rest of their day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.